There's a little-known wine region in Victoria called Mornington Peninsula. It's a very small, boutique-y region, but it's about an hour's drive south of Melbourne. You effectively hit the highway and drive around an enormous spit of land surrounded by water. When you get there, you notice that there are some amazing views, some amazing tiny wineries. Red Hill is the centre of this area. And that's where you find Pringa Estate. It's where some of the finest Pinot Noirs on earth are made.
We're in the market of making something that people love to drink, and it's a terrific industry to be in.
It's the sort of wine that we need on the peninsula. We need people who are prepared to stick with the style and develop it and try and achieve perfection.
We're now in the early part of October with the vines well underway. We monitor and watch very closely what's happening in this early growth stage. Over the next 6 weeks or so, these will flower, and hopefully that will be successful and we'll have the beginning of our next crop.
To make great wines on a great terroir, it is to look for the expression of the terroir. And if you try to put your mark in whatever way, you take down the quality. It's always by being as respectful as possible.
The fruit is never lost, but there's enough what I call dirty elements to make it interesting, so I actually want to drink it.
And as you can see by the fruit that we have here, they've matured well. The vines are green and in extremely good condition, and it all goes well for a good vintage.
Mornington Peninsula has established itself as a top Pinot Noir producing region, not just in Australia but the world. And the reason for that is partly the soils, very importantly the climate, because of this incredible maritime influence that it has, but also the people that make the wines there. Very small band of very keen people working on boutique properties. Now, that's a magic recipe for making serious wine.
One of the things I love about this is really the colours that you get. You can see the magnificent burgundy colour that froths up as the yeast are actually producing carbon dioxide, and there's a lot of heat in here. We use only French oak because that has a subtlety to it and allows the wine to age and breathe and impart the lovely flavours you get from oak without dominating the wine.
Small glass estate wine, big glass reserve wine. Really, really pronounced fruit. One of the hallmarks of these wines is that fruit jumps out of the glass. You don't need to go searching for it.
You have to give it a lot of thought, and it really comes back to my taste and my preference.
And it's quite intense. Pinot is often such a sort of restrained grape variety, but Lindsay managed to get so much sort of aromatic impact on his wines, which is incredible.
The grading of these barrels is very important because for our reserve wine, I want it to be the absolute best. I have to find the best barrels. Originally, I grew the vines in a vertical shoot position. I found the vines were growing out of balance, and in fact, a single cane I can recall growing from one post to the next, so that's something like 8 metres. That's a triffid out of control. I went to a Silvos system, which was untidy and difficult to manage, and in fact, we had fruit. The fruiting zone was from about eye level to knee level, so we had fruit growing over a huge area. And then I saw this lyre system at a field day one day, it was actually at Dramana Estate, and they were trialling a couple of rows, and I thought that's what I needed to do. The process then is simply just using your hands is to wind them on, and you'll hear a cracking process. And so how each one of these are treated is almost how I would want my children treated. Had I had my way, I would have been a dairy farmer. Going from a beer-drinking young fellow from the country, I guess my first glass of wine was something different, but I remember I enjoyed it.
LINDSAYS vineyard is in a fantastic site. It's an extraordinary site. It's a very rare, I hesitate to say unique, but a very rare site. It's a sun-trap kind of bowl-shaped vineyard which faces due north, and it's on a nice steep slope, and it captures the sun and the warmth, and that helps to ripen the grapes fully.
You don't sit back on your laurels and say that's as good as we can do. You strive to improve all the time.
The peninsula is set to become, if it's not already, the most important Pinot producing region in the country.